Money. It's something we all think about. How to earn it, save it, and most importantly, protect it. But let's be honest, when was the last time you really read through your insurance policy? Not just skimmed it, but actually understood every clause, every add-on, and every extra charge. Chances are, you signed up for what sounded like a great deal without fully realizing what you were paying for. And that brings us to a big question. Do you really need an insurance IP rider, or is it just another clever way for companies to squeeze more money out of you? Meet Ryan and Priya. They're a young couple in their early 30s, both working hard to build a secure future. They just bought their first home, juggling mortgage payments, car loans, and of course, monthly insurance premiums. Like most of us, they want to be responsible, make smart financial decisions, avoid unnecessary risks, and ensure that if something unexpected happens, they're covered. So, when their insurance agent suggested adding an IP rider to their policy, they hesitated. Is this really necessary? Ryan asked, looking over the paperwork. I mean, we're already paying for life insurance, health coverage, and home insurance. What exactly does this do? The agent smiled, leaning in as if revealing a secret. An IP rider ensures you don't have to worry about your insurance costs if you're unable to work due to illness or injury. Your premiums will be covered, and your policy will stay active even if you can't afford to pay. It sounded good, maybe too good. Priya bit her lip, flipping through the document. But what's the catch? She asked. The truth is, many people sign up for insurance add-ons like this without fully understanding how they work, or if they even need them. Insurance companies use technical jargon, hidden clauses, and fear-based selling tactics to make these extras seem essential. But are they really? Are you securing your future, or just adding another expense to your already tight budget? Ryan and Priya did what most of us would do. They turned to the internet for answers. Some financial experts swore by IP riders, calling them a safety net for tough times. Others warned that in many cases, they were unnecessary and rarely used. The deeper they dug, the more confusing it became. Was this a smart financial move, or just an upsell designed to take advantage of their fears? And that's where we come in. In this video, we're breaking down the truth about insurance IP riders, what they are, who actually needs them, and how to tell if you're wasting money. Before you sign on that dotted line, you need to know the facts. Because when it comes to money, every decision counts. Stay with us. You might be surprised at what you learn. Ryan and Priya sat at their kitchen table, surrounded by open laptops, phone screens glowing with different search results. The more they read about insurance IP riders, the more confusing it got. Every website seemed to have a different take. Some financial advisors swore by them, saying they could be a lifesaver in tough times. Others dismissed them as an unnecessary expense, something most people would never actually benefit from. This is crazy, Ryan sighed, rubbing his temples. One article says it's a must-have, and another one says it's a complete waste of money. Who are we supposed to believe? Priya scrolled through a finance blog, her eyes narrowing. Look at this. Someone in the comments section said they paid for an IP rider for years. Then when they actually needed it, the insurance company denied their claim. They found some technical loophole to get out of it. Ryan shook his head. That's what I'm worried about. Insurance companies don't lose money. If they're offering this, it's because they're making a profit off it somehow. They sat in silence for a moment, each lost in thought. It wasn't just about the extra cost, it was about trust. About knowing whether they were making a smart decision or just falling for a sales pitch. Their agent had seemed confident, almost too confident, like he was reading from a script. Priya glanced at Ryan. Should we ask him more questions? Ryan exhaled, leaning back in his chair. Yeah, but he's a salesman. He'll just tell us whatever it takes to make the sale. Priya slowly closed her laptop. Ryan, what if we're asking the wrong question? Ryan looked at her, puzzled. What do you mean? Priya's voice was quiet but steady. Instead of asking if we need this rider, maybe we should be asking if we can trust the system at all. The weight of her words settled over them. The air in the room felt heavy. For the first time, they weren't just questioning whether the rider was a good investment. They were questioning everything they thought they knew about financial security. And just like that, the decision they had been agonizing over suddenly felt much bigger than they ever imagined. Backslash, a heavy silence hung between Ryan and Priya. The realization that they might be placing their trust in a system designed to work against them was unsettling. They had started this journey thinking they were making a simple financial decision, but now it felt like they were staring into something much bigger, something they couldn't control. Then Priya's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and frowned. "It's Ananya." Ryan straightened up. Maybe she found something. Priya answered, putting the call on speaker. "Hey, what's up?" Ananya's voice was urgent. "I just talked to a former colleague who used to work in underwriting. You guys need to be really careful. These riders aren't just about whether or not you qualify. Sometimes companies make the approval process so difficult that people just give up." Ryan and Priya exchanged a look. "What do you mean?" Ryan asked. Ananya hesitated. "Have you ever heard of claims fatigue? It's a strategy some companies use. They don't outright deny claims. They just delay, request endless documentation, lose paperwork, or make people jump through so many hoops that they eventually stop fighting. Legally, they can say they never denied you. But in reality, they know most people don't have the time, money, or energy to keep pushing." Priya felt a chill creep up her spine. "So even if we do everything right, we could still end up with nothing." "Exactly," Ananya said. "And get this, some companies actually track how persistent a claimant is. If they see you're pushing back and willing to escalate, they might approve you just to avoid a legal battle. But if you give up easily, they win." Ryan clenched his jaw. "That's messed up." "It is," Ananya agreed. "That's why I'm telling you, if you do go for the rider, you need to know exactly how to fight for it if you ever need to use it. And keep records of everything emails, calls, documents. Because if they think you're not paying attention, they'll take advantage of it." Priya's stomach churned. This wasn't about insurance anymore. It was about control. Who had it, and who didn't. After they hung up, Ryan let out a slow breath. "Okay, worst case scenario. We need to claim this rider, and they make it impossible for us. What do we do?" Priya folded her arms. "We fight." Ryan nodded, but something still felt off. They had uncovered a lot, but there was something they were still missing, something they hadn't thought to question. Then it hit him. He grabbed his laptop and started typing. "What are you doing?" Priya asked. "I want to see if this has ever happened to our insurance company, not just in general, specifically to them." Priya's eyes widened. "You think they've done this before?" Ryan's fingers flew across the keyboard. "If they have, there's a chance someone has talked about it online, maybe even taken legal action. They searched deeper than ever before, digging through court records, customer complaints, and financial reports. And then, buried under pages of results, they found it. A lawsuit, a major one. Their insurance company had been sued just 2 years ago for systematically denying claims under their IP riders. Not by accident, not because of misunderstandings, but as a deliberate strategy to boost profits." Priya's breath caught. "Ryan, this is exactly what Ananya was talking about." Ryan swallowed hard. "Yeah, and the worst part, they settled out of court. No official admission of wrongdoing, which means they're still doing it." A cold realization settled between them. They weren't just deciding whether to buy an insurance rider. They were deciding whether to trust a company that had already been caught deceiving its customers. And suddenly, this wasn't just about protecting their future anymore. Ryan, who had been listening, sat up straighter. "So, it's not just about whether we need it. It's about whether we can actually trust the company to pay out." "Exactly," Ananya said. "A lot of people assume just because they have insurance, they're safe. But if the company finds a loophole to deny your claim, then what?" The call ended, but the uneasy feeling lingered. Priya tapped her fingers on the table. I don't think we should decide anything yet. Not until we go through every single detail of the policy. Ryan nodded. Agreed. If we're going to do this, we need to be absolutely sure we're not getting scammed. But the more they dug, the more questions they found. Hidden clauses, vague definitions, and a complicated claims process that seemed almost designed to confuse policyholders. The deeper they went, the less confident they felt. Somewhere in the back of their minds, a new fear was forming. What if the insurance industry wasn't just complicated? What if it was built this way on purpose? Ryan and Priya sat on their living room floor, surrounded by printed policy documents, scribbled notes, and open browser tabs. They had spent hours trying to untangle the fine print, but every answer seemed to lead to more confusion. The insurance IP rider they were considering looked simple on the surface, but the deeper they dug, the more they realized how much was left unsaid. Priya ran a hand through her hair, exasperated. Look at this clause, she said, pointing to a line buried on the second page. It says benefits are only payable under approved circumstances. But what does that even mean? Who decides what counts as approved? Ryan frowned, reading over her shoulder. Probably the insurance company, which means they can twist it however they want. Their frustration was turning into something else now. Doubt, suspicion, maybe even fear. They were trying to do the responsible thing, to protect themselves from financial disaster, but it was starting to feel like they were stepping into a trap. Just then, Ryan's phone buzzed. It was an email from their insurance agent, following up on their last conversation. The message was polite but firm. Asterisk rates are subject to change, and if you wait too long, you may miss out on this offer. Let me know how you'd like to proceed, asterisk. Ryan exhaled sharply, holding up his phone. Priya nodded. Then maybe we need to talk to someone who doesn't have anything to gain. The next day, Priya called her cousin, Rohan, who worked in finance. If anyone could break things down in a way that actually made sense, it was him. So, you guys are thinking about getting an IP rider, Rohan said after she explained their situation. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to be careful. Insurance companies design these policies to sound like a great deal, but they have fine print most people don't read. Like what? Priya asked, putting the call on speaker so Ryan could hear. Like exclusions. Some of these riders only kick in under very specific conditions. If you lose your job or get laid off, it won't help you. If you have a pre-existing condition, it might not cover you. And even if you do qualify, some companies have long waiting periods before they start paying. Ryan and Priya exchanged glances. This was exactly the kind of detail that agent hadn't mentioned. So, do you think we should get it? Ryan asked. Rohan hesitated. That depends. Do you have an emergency fund, other savings, or would you be in serious trouble if you lost your income? Priya bit her lip. We have some savings, but not a lot. We're still building it up. Then you need to be extra careful, Rohan warned. Because the last thing you want is to pay for something every month, only to find out it doesn't help you when you need it most. Ryan's stomach tightened. They were back to square one. If they skipped the rider, they might regret it in a crisis. But if they got it, they had no guarantee it would actually protect them. Priya sighed, closing her laptop. I don't know what's worse, not having it and needing it, or paying for it and never using it. And that was the question they couldn't shake. Was this a smart investment in their future, or just another way to lose money? A week passed, but Ryan and Priya were still stuck in the same loop of doubt. Every time they thought they had an answer, another question popped up. They weren't just worried about wasting money. They were afraid of making the wrong choice. It was about how many people were walking into the same trap without even knowing it. Priya stared at the screen, her pulse racing. The lawsuit was right there, black and white, buried under layers of legal jargon, but the meaning was clear. Their insurance company had already been exposed for doing exactly what they feared, trapping customers into paying for something they had no intention of honoring. And yet, They were still operating, still selling the same policies, still making people believe they were protected. Ryan sat back, running a hand over his face. This isn't just some shady loophole. They no asterisk what they're doing. Priya exhaled slowly. So what do we do? Forget the rider. Find another company. But how do we even trust anyone after this? Ryan was quiet for a moment. What if we go back to the agent? Ask him directly. Priya frowned. You think he's just going to admit this? Not directly, Ryan said. But if we ask the right questions, maybe we can catch him in a lie. The next day, they set up a call with their insurance agent, putting him on speaker. Ryan kept his voice casual. Hey, we've been doing some research on the IP rider. Just wanted to clear up a few things before we decide. The agent sounded cheerful, as always. Of course, I'm happy to help. What are your concerns? Priya glanced at Ryan before speaking. We just want to be sure, how often are claims for this rider actually paid out? Like, do you have any real examples of people who successfully used it? There was a brief pause before the agent responded, smooth as ever. Oh, absolutely. We've had plenty of satisfied clients who've benefited from this protection. Ryan pressed. Do you have specific numbers? Like, how many claims were approved last year? Another pause. Well, I don't have those exact figures in front of me, but our company has a strong reputation for taking care of our clients. Priya leaned in. Right. So, about that lawsuit from 2 years ago, where the company was accused of denying claims on purpose, should we be worried about that? This time, the silence stretched longer. When the agent finally spoke, his tone had changed. I'm not sure where you heard that, but I can assure you, we operate under strict regulations. Our policies are designed to help people. Ryan could almost hear the tension in his voice. So, if we were to get this rider and something happened, we wouldn't have to fight for months to get approved. No loopholes, no unnecessary delays. The agent cleared his throat. Of course, every claim is evaluated based on individual circumstances, but... Ryan cut him off. That's not a yes. Another silence. Priya exhaled, her decision suddenly crystal clear. You know what? I think we've got all the information we need. We're going to pass. The agent recovered quickly, his sales voice snapping back into place. Are you sure? Ryan and Priya sat in their living room, their laptops open, camera ready, and notes spread across the table. What had started as a simple financial decision had turned into something much bigger, a mission to uncover the truth and share it with others. Priya took a deep breath and pressed record. Hey everyone, today we're talking about something that could impact your financial future in ways you may not expect, the insurance IP rider. Ryan leaned in. We thought we were making a responsible choice, protecting ourselves in case of an emergency. But what we found out shocked us. They walked through everything they had uncovered, the misleading language, the claims delays, the lawsuit. They explained how companies use legal loopholes and pressure tactics to push policies that weren't always as beneficial as they seemed. And most importantly, they gave people the tools to ask the right questions before signing anything. As they wrapped up, Priya looked directly into the camera. At the end of the day, insurance is supposed to give you peace of mind. But if a policy makes you feel uncertain, if you have to dig through endless fine print to figure out if you're really covered, then maybe that's your answer right there. Ryan nodded. The truth is, financial security isn't just about buying the right policies. It's about knowing when something isn't in your best interest and having the confidence to walk away. They hit stop on the recording, and for the first time in weeks, they felt a sense of clarity. They hadn't just protected themselves, they had taken control of their own financial future. And maybe, just maybe, they had helped someone else do the same. Priya exhaled, smiling at Ryan. That felt good. He grinned. Yeah. Now let's make sure people see it. As they uploaded the video, they knew their journey wasn't over. There would always be more questions, more traps to uncover. But for now, they had done what they set out to do. They had found the truth, and they had shared it.